What's going on, everybody? We are shooting 2 videos back to back. We are shooting my worst and best films of the year to tie this whole thing up, to finally get this thing done. We are down to the last day of the year, and I could not be any more thrilled. Hopefully 2023 will give us all great tidings and better films. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with my dishonorable mentions. My first dishonorable mention is Family Camp, a film that I absolutely didn't know anything about, and it was fine for the most part, but then it goes a little bit wacky and loses my interest. Devil's Workshop had a lot of potential to be fantastic, but it just came out short with what they were trying to do, and it just fell flat. Mac and Rita, not a really good comedy. Don't Worry Darling, a movie that was supposed to be great but came out flat, and a lot of drama came out of it. Texas Chainsaw, a franchise that I really don't give a shit about, and this movie could burn, and I have no interest in rewatching it ever again. But those are my dishonorable mentions, so let's go ahead and get started with the worst films of the year. Coming in at number 10, I have The 355. Now, I talked about this in my most disappointing films of 2022. I had really not sky high expectations, but my expectations for this film were there. I really enjoyed the trailer. You had a stacked cast with this film, and boy did this film come out 20 years too late. This movie was absolutely a mess from beginning to end. There are some great action sequences here and there, but most of the time you have a lot of shaky cam in this film, and it just absolutely did not work for me. You had so much potential with this film. Simon Kinberg coming off of Dark Phoenix, even though a lot of people did not like it, I wanted to see what he was able to do with a film like this, and it just fell flat. Coming in at number 9 is Morbius. I was really excited for this film. I really enjoyed the trailers. I really like the look of Morbius. I think Jared Leto is a great actor. This movie was just not for him. This movie was chopped up so many times that I kind of wish we never had the pandemic to see what it would absolutely turn out to be. There were a lot of things in the trailers that did not pop up in the film, but overall this movie was a big disappointment. It was boring from beginning to end, and don't get me started on those 2 post-credit scenes, please. Coming in at number 8 is a movie that should have been fantastic and should have been the No Way Home of the Jurassic World franchise, and that is Jurassic World Dominion. This movie absolutely had me excited with that post-credit scene from Fallen Kingdom, and this movie just absolutely fell flat with characters that you don't like, characters that have no chemistry, and characters that return just to be there, so it would bring a lot of people back to the theaters. This movie absolutely was a disappointing. You have different storylines that didn't make any sense. It really tried to wrap up the whole thing in a bow. This movie should have been an epic conclusion, and it was just an epic failure. Coming in at number 7 is a movie that nobody probably ever saw or ever heard of, and that is Bar Fight. You have the chick from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and some other guy trying to fight over a bar. They tried to compete for it. It was just nonsensical. It was boring. It was really not worth your time, and the chemistry was not there. There were a couple of moments that got a pity laugh out of me, but other than that, it was just a movie that absolutely bored me to tears. Coming in at number 6 is Halloween Ends. Talk about a film that kills off a franchise. This movie had me excited because I really am in the minority that really enjoyed Halloween Kills. This movie killed the franchise. This movie was absolutely atrocious. I hated it. I appreciate that they were trying to go in a different direction and try something new. This was just not the movie to do it in. I thought it missed the mark on every single front. You don't have a lot of Michael. You don't have a lot of Michael versus Laurie, and you just have characters that you really don't like. Corey. But other than that, it was just an absolute train wreck. Coming in at number 5 is Moonfall. Roland Emmerich does a really good job of making guilty pleasure disaster movies. I really enjoyed The Day After Tomorrow and 2012. This movie missed the mark on both of those fronts. This movie was boring, nonsensical. The characters were stupid. It tried to go for that cheesy humor that Michael Bay goes for, and absolutely made Michael Bay look like a stand-up comedian. This movie was visual garbage, and it was just a big disappointment. I was ready to turn my brain off for 2 hours, but eventually I just fell asleep in my chair for 2 hours. Coming in at number 4 is Blacklight. Liam Neeson, whenever he does action films like these, they're entertaining, they're fun. I even have a soft spot for Honest Steve. Blacklight was not it. This movie was boring. The action was not there. The writing was atrocious. Liam Neeson does his very best to hold this film together, but he absolutely falls with this film as well. Aside from having a really nice end credit song, this movie just absolutely bored the living shit out of me, and I would have rather watched a blacklight shine in Liam Neeson's bedroom. Coming in at number 3 is The Invitation, trying to get us back to loving vampires after Twilight. This movie made Twilight look like The Godfather. This movie was absolutely garbage. I hated this movie. I did not give this movie a very strong review, hence why it's on this list. But this movie just had terrible characters you don't like, characters you don't want to be around, and it was just a vampire film that really failed at being a vampire film. Everything about this film was awful. Natalie Emanuel is absolutely stunning. She is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. I just wish they gave her a better project for her to shine that beauty in. Coming in at number 2 is Disney's Pinocchio. This movie was atrocious. I really hated this film. There was nothing likable about Pinocchio in this film. Everything about this film was absolutely garbage. I hated the motion of this film. I hated the way that it looked. Pinocchio was absolutely terrible as a character. Tom Hanks, gotta love the guy. He was not the right guy for Geppetto. I thought he was a absolutely atrocious Geppetto. I really love Tom Hanks, but this movie was just one of the worst performances that I've ever seen him in. But the reigning defending champion of the number 1 worst film of the year is Dashcam. This movie is just atrocious on every single level. The main character is stupid, she is unlikable, and from what I've heard is that she kind of plays the same character that she is in real life, and that just makes me want to not really see anything that she ever pops up in. Even if it was a Marvel movie, I would still skip it because she is that obnoxious. She has that Janice voice that really gets under your skin. She is the most annoying character that you will ever see in film, and it was just a film that I absolutely hated. It was boring from the moment it started. It got annoying. There were a couple of visuals towards the end of the film, but the way that the camera was shaking, I get it. Found footage, you have to shake the camera, but it was just absolutely garbage. I fucking hated this movie. This is the most annoying pieces of shit that I've seen, and I would have rather this film just never existed at all, or make it a little better with a better character. But those are my top 10 worst films of the year. What are your top 10 worst films of the year? What are the films that actually got under your skin, you absolutely hated, and would never watch again? Drop those thoughts in the comments below, and stick around for my top 10 best films of the year, because we are going to be ending this year on a high streak. But if you like this video and want to see more like this, or more that I have on the channel, do me a favor, click that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on more videos like this. Click that bell notification so you get notified every single time that a video pops up. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.